Well, the uncertainty over whether President Trump will keep the U.S. in the Paris Climate Accord is keeping big business in suspense. Hundreds of firms have lobbied the administration in recent months, urging it to remain in the deal. Among them, DSM North America, a life sciences and materials sciences firm. CGTN's Jessica Stone spoke with Hugh Welsh, the company's president and general counsel. She asked for his view on Trump's comments that he'll pause before making a decision.
Yeah, no, I think that's a favorable development. This isn't a decision that should be made with haste. This is a decision that should be made after some deliberation. Hopefully, the president will continue to listen to not just his counterparts in the international community, but those of us here in the business community that will continue to encourage the administration to stay part of the Paris Climate Agreement.
And how would it impact your company specifically, and companies of your size? You're a multinational. How do the U.S. climate targets under Paris impact how DSM invests its capital?
Yeah, I mean, we make many of our decisions with respect to R&D spend as well as capital spend based on what different governments around the world are committing to do. And we've made a lot of decisions over the last few years to invest capital here in the United States, specifically several $100 million, based on the fact that the United States had always been a strong supporter of climate change mitigation and legislation that enabled that, such as the Renewable Fuel Standard. So this period of uncertainty also leaves us with a little uncertainty as to where is the best place for us to make investment decisions going forward.
What do you say to the statement that President Trump believes that the Paris Climate Accord is a bad deal for America?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't agree with that position. I mean, we think that the United States needs to continue to take a leadership role on climate change issues. The United States had, through its commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement, reaffirmed that in Marrakesh, and we think it's a good deal for the people of the United States and certainly a good deal for U.S. business.
You're part of a group of businesses that are really tackling the lobbying effort from the business perspective to the White House. Make your case. If the President of the United States were sitting right in front of you now, what are your most convincing arguments about why businesses need the United States to stay in the agreement?
Yeah, look, I would use a company like DSM as the perfect example. The acronym DSM actually stands for Dutch State Mines. We're a company that began our life 115 years ago as a coal mining company, and over the years have adapted, changed, and evolved into a nutrition company, a health company, a materials company, and a clean energy company. And I think we stand as a tremendous example, Mr. President, as to how fossil fuel industries can continue to evolve, to grow, and to be profitable and create jobs going forward. We think that the commitments made under the Paris Climate Agreement foster U.S. innovation, foster the creation of U.S. jobs, and will certainly facilitate economic growth here.
It's so interesting because whenever you hear President Trump talk about the reasons that he's skeptical about the Paris Climate Agreement, it's primarily because of what he thinks are negative impacts of the pollution limits on industry. So he pits job creation against the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement. How would you reassure him of your view that it's quite the opposite?
Yeah, I mean, we have approximately 800,000 clean energy jobs in the United States today. To my understanding, we have about 65,000 jobs in the coal mining industry. Coal mining is not coming back, but we're going to continue to expand with respect to wind energy, solar energy, and biofuels. Those are the facts. In the boardroom, we talk about facts. I understand politics could be a little different, but when you sit back and you analyze the impact of climate change on business and the impact of the Paris Agreement on business, at the end of the day, I think the president will make the right decision and stick with the agreement because he understands it's good for America, good for jobs here in America, and certainly good for research and development and innovation here.
One of the decisions the White House is heavily considering is staying in the Paris Climate Agreement, but adjusting downwards the commitments under Paris, primarily the emissions commitments. What would that mean to what DSM does as a company?
I mean, that certainly would be disappointing. We would love to see the United States continue to take a leadership role here, but it would give us pause and make us have to reflect and think as to where we need to invest our research and development dollars and our capital dollars going forward. We certainly would never abandon the United States, but it would cause us to reflect as to where the best geography might be to make these investments.
Well, if the United States doesn't lead in your view, do you have a sense of where around the world you would look nationally, to national governments rather, to lead that might guide you in where to invest in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been encouraged by what is happening in Europe with solar in Germany and with a lot of renewable energy work being done in the Netherlands. But we also see China really as a potential global leader here, in many respects already beginning from a rhetorical perspective to fill the shoes of the United States to lead in this space. I know the 8th Climate Summit in China is upcoming. They've already made commitments to invest $361 billion and create 13 million new jobs in the clean energy space. That more and more is looking like an interesting area for DSM and probably for many other multinationals to invest their clean energy dollars.